All right, so I just recently made this purchase. Bought two at the same time of these amps from the company S.M.S.L. These amps are called the VMV A1 Pro. They feature the GAN technology that is within the amps themselves. You can read about it online. I'm not going to go through all the technical details. I purchased it specifically to use in a monoblock configuration as how I have it. These amps will only work in monoblock using the XLR input, which I have connected right now to both amps. So once you connect the XLR input, the RCAs are not usable. I don't know if you can use them simultaneously, but why would you do that? You either buy one amp to use in stereo, or you buy two to use in stereo in a monoblock configuration, which I've done here. So I really just wanted to make a quick video because I've seen a couple of videos online about these amps individually, but nobody has done a review on these amps talking about them in a monoblock configuration. My room and my system is set up as best I can for, pleasing sonic experience. I have, decent front end equipment, and my room is, wired 20 amp dedicated outlets. Each of these outlets are dedicated, separate, separate outlet, separate outlet. The best case scenario for setting up a listening experience in your room. I've treated my room sonically, or acoustically, I should say. And yeah, this is, the space that I have in order to enjoy some music. I replaced, using these amplifiers, I did have a Macintosh MC452, which was an absolute lovely unit, and I was very happy with it. However, I wanted to truly shift some funds around to take advantage of some opportunities I saw. So I figured, sell the amp, get some money, and buy something cheaper. Now, that being said, I was not ready for what these amps in this configuration are able to deliver. So for speakers, I'm using the SourcePoint 10s, and they are rated at 8 ohms, and on the site they say that they go down to 6.2 ohms. These amps in a monoblock configuration say that they push out 250 watts per channel in 8 ohms, 400 watts per channel in 4 ohms. So more than enough power to push these amps to whatever listening level you prefer. So, I was like, okay, by the numbers, this should work. So I bought the amps, not knowing what to expect, not knowing the technology behind them. I just knew that, my room is ready for amps, and whatever I get, I should be able to fine tune for my listening space, and things should be all right. Got the amps in, shipped actually pretty quickly here to Canada, and perfect order, opening up the boxes. They were packed well. The amps themselves are really nicely built, just, solid aluminum. They have a good heft to them. They are small. These are very small amps, but built really, really nicely. They both come with their own remote control, which is actually also really, really nice. This is an aluminum remote. Doesn't come with a battery, but the CR 32 something, I can't remember, but pretty standard battery for remotes. They both come with a remote. The cool thing is you only need one remote to control both units. So I can just point it and both units will respond with one remote, which is very cool. And just turn it on, they both respond. The amps have some configurations that are accessible through the menu system. You can use the remote for that, or you can just use the front panel here. So going into your amp mode, if you select that, you can go to pure amp mono, which I'm in. You can go to volume control if you're in stereo, or pure amp stereo. So obviously I'm using this in a mono setup, and that's the way I have it. Oops. There we go. Did it stay there? Yeah, so we're good. And then there are a couple of others. Let's just let it cycle out of that. How do we do that? Maybe it just needs to reset on its own. I'm not sure, because I haven't really messed around with it since I... Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So, that being said, yeah, so you have that. You have a dimmer control, brightness. So this will set, you know, how long you would like the dimmer to be on display. So 5 seconds, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And I think that's where it goes. Or that's where it ends. I turn it off. Okay. So anyways, yeah, the remote works great. You can also use the control on the front of the amp. Around back, you have some pretty well-made connections, right? So your binding posts here, I just have these blocked off because I'm not using them. In mono mode, this is your positive and your negative. Obviously your XLR and your power. And I know that, yes, my power cables cost more than these amplifiers. That being said, I already had the power cord, so why not use them? Let's get just to the sound quickly about what these things are able to do. When I initially powered them up and plugged them in, I was impressed with the amount of detail that these amps were able to deliver through my current system. And the sonic sound stage was also very impressive. I was hearing sounds, you know, extreme left, extreme right, behind me. Even when I hooked up my Sony PlayStation 5 Pro, using my TV, running, you know, my VR through there, beautiful. You're getting sounds from behind you, above, below, lovely. It all reproduced that really, really great. What I was a little bit, well, I'll say what was sonically lacking was a little bit of the lower mid thump and low and bass. And I said, oh man, you know, I mean, it sounds really great, and basically that's why you have a subwoofer. You can put that in, which I do, and you tune it up, and it's great. What I wasn't aware of is that these amps need about 20 to 30 hours, maybe 40 hours of a solid break-in time before they start functioning at full capacity. Once I had that time on the amplifiers, the bass, the mid bass, everything came through so strong, came through deep, controlled, along with the sound stage and the detail that these amps are able to reproduce. I understand, yes, I have good componentry, you know, running it. I have a pretty decent front end, you know, nothing to brag about, but, you know, you put a little time and thought into the front end. I have my power supplies, you know, well thought out. I have power delivery, well thought out. I have my isolation, well thought out. And that being said, room, well thought out. These amps are absolutely phenomenal. I know it took me 9 minutes and 32 seconds to get to this point, but Canadian, they're about $690 each amp. And I'm able to grab the same sonic fidelity and enjoyment that I've been able to get from Bryston amps, from Meridian amps, from Macintosh amps. These amps, if you know what you're doing and your system is able to deliver pure sonics to them, they will give you and reward you with bliss, sonic bliss. This might be one of their best, most value-minded amplifiers that's available to audiophiles and non-audiophiles. You don't have to be an audiophile in order to enjoy this. You can grab this amp, just one of them, you know, Canadian, you pay under $700, and you get a 160 watt per channel amplifier in 4 ohms, 85 watts and 8 ohms for a desktop amp. You put 2 speakers there and you're gonna love the sound that comes out of it. It's gonna be fantastic. But if you do take your game, you know, a step or two above that, and you do want to try this monoblock configuration, I gotta say, the monoblock with these amps seems to be a holy grail of fantastic sonics. I can't complain. Every time I sit down, I have a tough time pulling myself away from my sound system, to be honest. I'm not gonna gush on about it. These amps are fantastic for what they are. Again, the VMV A1 Pro amplifier from S.M.S.L. If you care about sonics, you care about well-made products, you care about something that actually looks and feels pretty decent. Like, these look pretty badass just sitting here, you know, in the system. You know, zero noise, they're dead silent. They only take 0.5 watts of power in standby. Again, with the remote, you can easily just, you know, put it into standby and it's no problem. What would be some of the downsides? I don't know. At this price point, it's hard to say that there is a downside. And you know what? I'm not an audio gear reviewer, so I'm not even going to go down that road. This is a fantastic amplifier at a fantastic price. It delivers amazing sonics at any price point. Sure, you know, go spend $100,000 on a pair of, you know, whatever. Go blow your brains out, and that's fine and amazing. I would do it if I had the money. I don't have that money. I will say, though, even if I did have that money, I could not deny the absolute cleanliness and clarity and controlled bass that these amps are able to provide when you do have everything else set up as it should be. Again, the VMV A1 Pro amps, read about them, do your research. If you care at all about sonics, you don't want to break the bank, or even if you do want to break the bank, but you just want to try a different technology that does deliver amazing sonics, check these amps out. I am absolutely blown away by what they're able to provide in terms of sonic quality and enjoyment of listening. There's no harshness. There's, you know, again, this is in my system with the, you know, the gear that I have, how I have my room set up. So, you know, your mileage might vary. However, when things are done right, and there's 1,000 ways to do things right, this is just one of them. When it's done right, you will be absolutely blown away with 2 of these amps using an XLR balanced input from your preamp into here. It will absolutely give you sonic pleasure, enjoyment, and give your bank account a slight rest. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy your listening, and I hope you found this video somewhat helpful. I'll try and put some links in the bottom here in the description. I'm not a YouTuber, so I'll have to figure that out. Anyways, oh wait, one more thing. It's really nothing to do with sonics, just kind of cool. So the speaker inputs here, I'm gonna actually have to turn off my lights here so you can actually see what's happening. Just a neat little thing. When you do power off the amplifiers or just put it into standby, check the back end. These light up. Serves absolutely no purpose sonically, but it is kind of cool. You know, at nighttime, you know where your amps are. You're not going to be stumbling over stuff. And again, you know, so easy to just power everything on. One remote You get 2 of them if you buy 2, but just one remote will rule them all. And there is the VMV A1 Pro amplifiers in mono setup, pushing out 250 watts per channel in 8 ohms, and I can't be happier. These are one of the first reviews that you're going to find on YouTube regarding these amps. 15 minutes, 30 seconds, probably too long. If you listen this long or watch this long, you care. And if you care that much, yeah, absolutely, go out and buy them. These are just fantastic.